Hi, welcome back to The Scent Advocate. Tonight we're talking about fragrances with prominent notes of carnation. I love carnations. I think a lot of people do. They have memories tied to them, whether they're scent memories or some other kind of memory where carnation was part of something important. And that's certainly the case for me on both accounts. What I find so interesting is that carnation used to be very popular in fragrance, and as the years progressed, it became less and less of a popular note. And while there are a few more recent releases in the niche and indie worlds, I really can't speak to the designer and more popular kind of mainstream fragrances. So if you know of any mainstream fragrances that have prominent carnation notes, let me know in the comments. I'm certainly interested in trying them. I think it would be a lot of fun. But these are from my collection, and some of them are older and some of them are newer. I have a lot of really special memories with some of these, and I'll talk about those as we go through. So first is the beverage for this evening is Genmaicha tea. I absolutely love it. I've been trying to indulge in it in the evenings because Mark worries that I'm not getting enough sleep, and he blames coffee. Coffee has no effect on me. It just doesn't. It hasn't for many, many years. I just love the flavor. But I also love the flavor of this, so it's a nice compromise. It makes him think that perhaps I'm making a healthier choice, and I think coffee is perfectly healthy. Anyway, let's jump right into tonight's fragrances. Let's start with a wonderful newer addition to my collection, but a very old favorite. Are you ready? This is Raffinee by Houbigant. Now, this fragrance was one that I tried, gosh, I was young. So this came out in 1982, and this is a 30 ml EDT, and I paid about 60 bucks for it. This is, just so you know, vanilla, cypress, vetiver, carnation, plum, clary sage. I won't go through all of them, but there's hyacinth, orchid, osmanthus, spices, incense, sandalwood, musk. It's one of those just big 80s fragrances with a whole lot going on in the notes. And I really love this fragrance. I loved it even when I was young, and it was definitely a mature fragrance then, but something about it just made me feel grown up. And that was the thing, right? If you're a Gen Xer, that was, we just couldn't wait to grow up. And I think the generations after, it's kind of been the opposite, right? They've been more inclined to stay home, stay close to home until they're, really comfortable getting out of the house and maybe just enjoying their youth more. And I love that. I wish I had done more of that, but what can I say? So this fragrance is very complex, as you would expect one of these 80s fragrances to be. And what I love about this particular bottle, I believe this is from the late 80s. The research I did on it seems to indicate that, but more importantly, it's the house, Houbigant, I hope I'm not mispronouncing that, was the original house that created this fragrance. I believe after that, it was sold to another house, and I want to say it was Dana, and then it was sold again, I believe. Now, I'm not 100% positive about that line of succession, but I think it's something along those lines, and it is because it is an Houbigant release that I believe this is late 80s. The smell for a vintage fragrance is very, very good. In fact, it is one of the amazing experiences I've had as I've explored vintage. My mother always taught me growing up that, you have to hurry up and use your fragrances because if you don't, they'll go sour or they'll go stale. And all evidence to the contrary, this is gorgeous. It is carnation forward. Carnation has an expression in fragrance that is not quite the same as when you smell it in person, an actual carnation. But when you fixate on it, you know it from fragrance to fragrance. And this has a very prominent fragrance version of carnation. It's almost a little pepper-like. Not black pepper so much. It's got that same quality that black pepper has, ground black pepper, the same quality that cloves has, but it doesn't smell like either of those. It's its own thing, but there's a sharpness to it. There's a deliberate, unmistakable aspect of the fragrance or I should say the note, and that's in here. It's made more heavy by the plum and the other spices in there. There's, orris is a little bit on the heavy side, even though it's got a powdery feel. Ylang-ylang, for sure heavy. The incense is very noticeable in here. So just a really beautiful example of, a carnation fragrance. It's a heavy floral with a jolt of orris going on, kind of offset by the spices. In the beginning, the cypress note is almost minty, but that settles down very, very quickly. And for me, this is a mature and confident fragrance and definitely a trip down memory lane. I remember wearing this. I got my first bottle of this, I think, when I was in the 7th grade. See how quick we were to grow up back then? Yes. Now I cannot imagine my child wanting a fragrance that big and mature, although she's going into the 9th grade, but still, even at this age, that would be too much. All right. So Raffinée by Houbigant. Moving on, let's stay in the same decade. A very different expression of carnation is another favorite of mine. My gosh, I love this stuff. I bathed in it. It's Liz by Liz Claiborne. Yes. Oh my goodness, did I love this stuff. And so did everybody else. This is a 1986 release. This I've got for $40. It's an EDT and it's about 100 ml. The nose behind this is Nicolas Calderon. The notes in this are marigold, freesia, carnation, green notes, peach, lily, on and on and on. Of course, the carnation is very big. There's rose, violet, oak moss, sandalwood, amber, musk. What I love about this one is it's very authentic to how I remember it. I got a recent version, and I can't say with certainty what's been reformulated and what hasn't, but what I can tell you is the newer version that I smelled nothing like the original. This definitely smells like the original. This is allegedly from the very late 80s, early 90s, and I believe it. It is spot on with that something, and part of that something that is really unique to this fragrance is the carnation. I think the oak moss gives it that classic strength and a bit of maturity, and just it's so pretty. It's so pretty, and it's so classic, and it's so nostalgic. The marigold, that's an unusual note. It's not one I frequently smell in fragrance, and I think maybe that has something to do with it. There's lily of the valley in this, as well as narcissus, which can be really great. I think the lilac is pretty muted, but gives it a youthful kind of blush over what would otherwise be a pretty mature fragrance. So this was all the rage in the 80s. I'm talking about, you know, yeah, 1986, 87, 88. Those were the days, and we all lived in this. It was incredible. Loved it. It's a favorite. I so enjoy having it in my collection. This is Liz by Liz Claiborne. Moving on to another classic. I discovered this later in life, and this is a recent release. This is not vintage. So the first two were vintage. Those were, you know, 30 plus years old. Okay. This one is a recent, I believe, a recent version. I bought retail. I was intrigued by the notes. The price was incredible. So here it is. This is Jean-Louis Scherrer. And the nose behind this one is Gisette Remise. This is an EDT. It is 50 mil. It goes for about $40. And this was originally released in 1979, and it has carnation in it as well. The common theme that I'm noticing in these fragrances is the, let's see, definitely bergamot, although I don't see bergamot. All right, so maybe I'm not seeing as much of a common theme. I imagined it. Okay. This is almost a fougere. It's a handsome green aldehydic, really nice. There's a hint of oceanic something going on in there. And of course, the carnation jumps right out at you. It's got that sharp but very, very pleasant presence in there. It's almost a presence and less of a scent itself. It gives it something of a texture. Do you notice that too with carnation? I think this is probably the most carnation forward among the three that I've featured so far. There's oak moss that just gives it, you know, that wonderful maturity and classic quality. But this is more green. And so in here, there are aldehydes, jasmine, gardenia, tuberose, oak moss, vetiver, civet, very tame. Cedar, sandalwood, musk, amber, vanilla, hyacinth. But that carnation is big, big, big in this. It's almost masculine. I think that the first two definitely are feminine fragrances. This one is unisex, leaning masculine, and it's not leaning lightly. It's leaning a little hard. But I adore it. It's wonderful, and it smells amazing on skin. Jean-Louis Scherrer. Moving on, we've got, let's do another fragrance that, it's not really a classic. I don't know why. I think maybe I just equate it with a classic because of the bottle. And this is Guerlain's Après Lundi. There we go. This is 100 mil. It's an EDT. It goes for about $100, and this is a 2021 release. And like I said, I thought this was a little bit older, and it's not. This is Anise, Cassis, Violet, powdery notes, carnation, iris, and vanilla. The carnation in this is very different, I think, because it's not one of those big 80s type fragrances. This is much more subdued, much softer, more powdery, more soft herbs, pretty herbs. I think that anise gives you that. It's really an iris carnation fragrance with the two kind of in balance, in really close balance, close proximity to each other in the balance. So it's, I wouldn't say it's half and half, but it comes real close. The vanilla just anchors it a bit. It's not prominent at all. So lots of powder and carnation in this. Beautiful stuff. This wears really well. It's very light, super easy reach. This is one of the less expressive carnation fragrances. So if you love Guerlain, you know, that beautiful way that they do powdery notes, and you're interested in carnation, this would be a great place to start, a nice safe place, especially if you're worried about like the expression of it and that textured kind of expression. I think you'd find this really very pleasant and wearable. So this is Après Lundi by Guerlain. All right, moving on, we've got, let's do some Chypres, shall we? Let's do Chypre Palatin by MDCI. This is very popular, and it's a rigid vintage Chypre from, you know, like the 70s genre of Chypres. It's got that really classic feel to it. The nose behind this is Bertrand Duchefort, and it is 75 ml. It is an EDP. It is a 2012 release, and this goes for about $250. The notes in this are clementine, hyacinth, lavender, rose, jasmine, iris, styrax, vanilla, castoreum, costus, and leather. So my notes here say a serious woman with serious style wears this, and I think that's true. But she's her own invention, right? She's audacious, and she's not wearing what's trendy, and nothing wears her. She wears whatever it is she's got on. It makes me think of these kind of golden foxes who have these YouTube channels and Instagram accounts, and they're in their 70s plus, and they wear these really eclectic clothes and jewelry. I mean, they just go completely wild in a fabulous way. This is something one of them would wear. Just kind of leaving convention behind and going with your own life's experience. So what I didn't mention in here was the carnation among the notes. The carnation in this fragrance, to me, this is a carnation kind of accord. I think the notes come together to give it a strong carnation feel. And what's nice about it is it's the carnation with a little less sharpness to it. But to me, undeniably carnation. Maybe this is the most photorealistic carnation among the fragrances that I'll talk about tonight. It's hard for me to tell, but it is beautiful, and, you know, just a very different expression of the flower, and one that I think doesn't get as much attention as it should, probably because it is not a featured note, at least not in the not on the sites where I researched Chypre Palatin. So let me know what you think. Do you get a strong gosh, I've got iris on the brain tonight. Do you get a strong carnation out of this, or do you feel something else coming forward? For me, this is big carnation. This is MDCI's Chypre Palatin. Next, let's do Angel's Dust by Francesca Bianchi. Love this house. I absolutely adore it. So this is a 30 ml extrait. It is a 2016 release, and it goes for about $180. The notes in this are black pepper, mimosa rose, iris, sandalwood, tolu balsam, benzoin, and vanilla. But there is a carnation in this for sure. I get a lot of carnation. Now, the thing about this carnation is it leans indolic, okay? So if you appreciate that kind of experience in a fragrance, this one is for you. Heavy rose, the iris softens it up a bit, yeah, sure, but there is carnation and it is turning, and it's got that almost dirty feel to it, if you know what I mean. Very audacious, very nervy. And, you know, this is a person who wants to come off as maybe angelic, innocent, but definitely is not. This gives away the, I don't know, the Hellcat inside, I guess. This leans a bit feminine for sure. By the way, I should have added that Chypre Palatin is very, very unisex. This leans feminine, but not so much that it's not unisex. Beautiful stuff. Angel's Dust by Francesca Bianchi, which, you know, you expect that kind of a fragrance out of her. She's got that, you know, very kind of nervy, you know, shock thing going on. All right. One of my favorite houses of all time, Stranger's Parfumerie, Gheorghe. There we go. And this is a 30 ml EDP. This is a 2018 release, and it goes for about $100. There is a long list of notes in this, but it includes carnation. Some of the others that might be helpful: hay, peat, elemi, whiskey, narcissus, tobacco is prominent in here, gardenia, pear, black pepper, cloves, and yes, you can smell the cloves in this. Heliotrope, labdanum, immortelle, benzoin, coriander, opopanax, castoreum, and patchouli. Big, dark, in your face. The peat is very pleasant. There's nothing funky here. There's no decay upon which the peat is growing. Not at all. It's got a pretty floral backdrop to it, despite the harshness of some of the notes, the heaviness. And the carnation is, it smells a little synthetic to me in here, a little contrived, but I love that. I love that it's a very different expression of a carnation. And maybe it's just that it's, you know, kind of sitting alongside other notes that impact it, like that whiskey, I think, has an impact on it. Because there's almost a faint hint of 1980s hairspray going on in this. You know, I should say hair shellac. That's what we used to use. My gosh, that stuff was unbelievable. A tornado would not move a strand of your hair. Yeah, and there's just the slightest hint of that going on. And those hair products were heavily fragranced with various things, including carnation. And so this just kind of takes me back a little bit to that. And I think that's why it kind of comes off a little bit synthetic, but it's beautiful. It's, you know, and who's to say, right? I think a lot of these fragrance notes are artificially, they're lab created. They're not all, you know, some kind of, I don't know, essential oil from the exact flower derived stuff, right? I mean, let me know in the comments if you know differently, but I'm sure that a lot of these notes are lab made in the sense that they are not at all connected to the actual plant. And who cares? This smells great. As it dries down, you get more of that tobacco. and the carnation is mellowed. The whiskey bolstering of the carnation note just kind of tempers. Beautiful stuff. Georgy by Strangers Parfumerie. There we go. Okay, last but definitely not least, did you see this one coming? A big, big, big one. Carnation, absolutely. And this one is probably the most audacious of the bunch. It is Salome. Oh, yes. I had to. I know I talk about this one a lot, but I had to because this is so carnation forward. You love it or you hate it. I love it. When I first smelled it, I wasn't sure. I didn't know what was going on. I thought I'd lost my mind. I'm thinking, what is this? I think I actually blushed. If you've smelled this fragrance, you know why. You know. Sexy, sexy, sexy in a raw way. Not sexy like you see a stranger across the room and your eyes lock. This is sexy, like, let's do it again. There you go. Okay. So this is, Papillon, Artisan Perfumes. This is a 50 ml. This is an EDP. It's a 2015 release, and it goes for $225. We got bitter orange, bergamot, hyrax, jasmine, carnation, of course, tobacco, Turkish rose, orange blossom, castoreum, cumin, oak moss, hay, styrax, and patchouli. Yes. I mean, just need I say more? The carnation in here is indolic. It is very well combined, and it's a note I took for granted in here. Of course I can smell it, but I was so busy always talking about the oak moss or the castoreum, or of course, that cumin. Those were what, were front of mind for me. But of course, there's a lovely carnation, and this carnation has been around the block a few times. That's why it's headed in the indolic direction. Beautiful stuff. Let me know, do you love this? Do you hate it? Have you not tried it? And if so, are you going to? Because, like, whoa. And this stuff packs such a punch. Oh my gosh. You can't tell by the dent in here, but I have worn the absolute heck out of this. It is amazing. It's Salome by Papillon. All right, so let me know what you think of these wonderful carnation fragrances. There are so many more, and just to give you a hint of what will be ahead in a future video, I've got some more coming. I'm really into the vintages on this one, though. This note, because there are so few that I've found, like I said at the beginning of the video, in modern releases that contain carnation. So help me out. If you know of any that you think would be fantastic, please let me know in the comments. And hey, if you aren't yet a subscriber to the channel, please consider subscribing. I'd love to have you. And if you enjoyed the video, please give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.